What's up guys, it's Mai and welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about Marjane Byarm in relation to anti-blackness and travel. So I normally don't make content like this on my channel talking about like politicized or philosophical or like deeply rooted issues like anti-blackness, internalized anti-blackness, things like that. I normally do talk about things like that on my podcast, just not specifically on this channel because I use it specifically to talk about travel and traveling. But I feel like the situation is very important to touch on, especially on a channel where I want my audience to be specifically a safe place for Black people to ask questions about traveling. So I think addressing anti-Blackness and travel and utilizing the Marjane Byarm situation is like really important. So if you don't know who Marjane Byarm is, she is a very popular Black travel vlogger here on YouTube with over 270,000 subscribers, and she's been under a lot of heat lately because of the scamming allegations that are against her. She has been accused of stealing upwards of $2,500+ per person for these trips that she set up to Dubai and to Egypt as well, and basically not providing the services that she promised she would provide. In addition to just taking people's money and not providing a trip at all. Many women have come out saying that she has scammed them, a majority of them being Black women specifically, and basically Marjane Byarm has not addressed the allegations at all. Except for when Choice TV, who is a popular tea channel here on YouTube, confronted her in Amsterdam about it. He pretended to be a fan and went to her hotel room and just basically was just like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe all these people are accusing you of this, etc. And unprovoked, which is what this video is about, unprovoked, Marjane Byarm responded to Choice TV saying that yes, it's just mostly Black girls and that this isn't their first time doing this, like accusing her of these things or just like talking about this type of situation in relation to her. What really frustrates me about that type of response is that Marjane Byarm's majority of their audience is Black women. So obviously a majority of the people who are going to be talking about the situation and a majority of people that are going to be patronizing her services are going to be Black women just by virtue of your audience being Black women. So yes, the Black girls are at it again, I guess, supporting you, of course. And B, the phrase, this isn't their first time, as if she isn't a Black person, like the separation of like her Blackness from other Black women, as if like I'm not like those other Black girls, like these Black women, it's not their first time. Like the language there is just like very, I hate using this word, but like problematic, like honestly just like problematic. And it reeks of anti-Blackness and it reeks of internalized anti-Blackness, that someone that has created their platform, a lot of it, off of being a Black person traveling, which is perfectly fine, like, because that's your audience, but then ostracizing Black people and unprovoked ostracizing Black people when it's time to be held accountable for your actions, when you scammed Black people, right? Like it's, and so what I really want to get into is, this idea that she perpetuates on her channel outside of this specific situation, just the way that she has responded to people, Black women specifically, about when they ask questions about what it's like to be a Black person traveling, what's it like specifically being a Black woman solo traveling, because she has claimed to be a solo traveler, what it's like, and her response is consistently being, why would you ask me something like that? And ostracizing Black women for asking real questions about what it's like to travel as a Black person. It is not delusional for Black people in general to want to know what it's like to travel as a Black person. People have very real experiences and really real experiences of anti-Blackness while traveling. I'm someone who's had very real experiences of anti-Blackness, anti-Black racism perpetuated towards me physically and verbally against me while traveling outside of the United States and inside of the United States, right? So it's not crazy for a Black person to be like, hey, like what are some things I should look out for? And it's important to address these topics because we want to help our community, or maybe that's not the goal of your channel, which is totally fine. It doesn't have to be. But one of my goals, and one of the goals of many travel vloggers, is to get more Black people to be able to travel and also do it sensibly, affordably, and safely, and to encourage more people to go outside of their comfort zone, live in new places, experiences new experiences, and not have that fear of traveling. And when you respond to people in ways of none of these things exist, you're lying to them, you know, like by implying that like this is nonsensical, that we should not be thinking about these things, etc., etc., is just kind of ridiculous to me, because these are things that we do think about, that are our experiences, specifically as African American people, and also throughout the entire diaspora. Our experiences are very specific, right? So I don't think it's crazy for Black women specifically to be asking another Black woman who's a popular travel YouTuber what it's like to travel as a Black person. Now, it is your prerogative to say, hey, these are just not topics I'd like to address. And that's perfectly fine. Don't address it if that's not something you're interested in addressing. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't think people should be forced into making Blackness their platform, wanting to answer uncomfortable questions like that. If that's not you, that's fine. There's plenty of other people that can answer these questions that aren't you. But to ostracize people for asking the question in the first place is like, that's where the ridiculousness comes for me. And so this leads me to talking about representation of Black people in general in the travel vlogging space. There's not a lot of us that are like majorly platformed. There's a lot of us doing travel vlogging, but there's not a lot of us with major platforms. Like some amazing people like I can think of is like Sundai Love, Lydia Dinga, LukeLifeCharms, and a few other people come to my mind. And then like on TikTok as well, like there's a few other people as well, like the Traveling Tourist, the Paper Pat, etc., that are like pretty majorly platformed Black travelers, or Black people that live outside of the United States, and they're like Black travelers from the US, but they're not largely platformed, and we do deserve to be put on, you know, like we do deserve for us to be put into the algorithm more and be able to reach our audiences as well. And I think there's a lot of interest and a lot of demand for people to see Black people traveling, and they exist, but the algorithm aren't pushing them. And so it's important for us to have this representation, because it's important for people to know, A, what are the opportunities for people to be able to travel abroad, first of all, and B, what are the unique experiences of traveling while Black abroad as well? These are like important questions to be answered, right? So I do think that there's not a lot of great representation, like in terms of quantity, and in terms of it being pushed through the algorithm specifically. But there are people that do make this content, and they may be smaller channels or medium-sized channels that I will be linking into my description, so that you guys can check out their channels and actually get this information, and also be able to see Black people succeed and thrive, you know. I think that it would be really beneficial for there to be more of a bigger platform of Black travelers connecting. And like, I think it does exist in terms of like the Facebook space, like in terms of travel group spaces, etc. But just like on YouTube as a platform, like it's starting to grow a little bit. Like I know like Tiffany Davis like did a collaboration with another Black travel YouTuber in London recently. I'm so sorry that I forgot your name. I'll just put the name here. But her face is like in my mind right now. But they recently did a collaboration video together. Joe Franco, who's another major Black YouTuber, recently has a show on Netflix now, about like different like vacation rentals and traveling, etc., things like that. And you know, just people like that need to get major platforms. I think Joe is probably the biggest person I can think of with such a huge platform, that gets paid a lot of money and has a wide audience that's young, that does travel videos and travel vlogging, that's also Black, right? But yeah, I can't think of like too many huge major, like these are the travel vloggers in the travel vlogging space that are getting the same attention as non-Black like travel vloggers. So I do think that hopefully by me putting into my description box all of these different travel channels, etc., that we're able to support each other even more. And yeah, like, I think that representation in travel is so important, us supporting each other and sharing our experiences of travel, and also just making travel safer for ourselves, and like also dispelling a lot of fears that shouldn't exist, right, around travel, is really important, right? And so, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about specifically, is because I just think it's really ridiculous to me that people think that it's really weird or strange or whatever to even conceive that we might have difficulty traveling due to race. Like, race unfortunately impacts every facet of people's lives. That's just a fact. Sorry, not sorry. Quite literally, it does. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to talk about today. Specifically, I'm hoping that Marjane can reflect and actually address what she's been saying, specifically this commentary on "it's always black girls." That really rubbed me the wrong way, and she's going to lose a lot of support after that, I'm sure. She definitely lost my support after me hearing that, because I just felt like it was very unnecessary and like kind of shows your character if you can say something like that unprovoked. And I'm just really hoping that the algorithm can push more black travel vloggers that are very much open to talking about their very real, raw experiences, or just being honest about the fact that they may not be qualified to speak on things like that. Just being honest with people is just like so necessary. So yeah, like, support your black travel content creators. I'm someone that makes content on being black, traveling, studying abroad, etc. Like I said, I'm living in Vienna, Austria now. I'm studying for my master's degree in history. I just got back from Turkey, visiting my boyfriend. It was really fun. I'm having a blog about that later this week. That will be up. And yeah, like, these are, if this is something you're interested in, this topic specifically, I'll be around. But just know that, like, don't let people gaslight you into thinking that, like, asking these types of questions is crazy, because it's not. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. That's my little chitty chat. Let me know if you'd like to hear me speak on more topics like this, if you'd be interested in that. And yeah, okay. Bye, guys.